Oh,
Oh my God.
blame the plumber, folks. He decided to take an extended coffee break for like 3 months. It was to get cream.
Yeah, and on top of that, we just had this huge storm, which
Okay, what the hell happened while I was out? What the hell happened? I went to go get us some cream for our coffee over in Italy, and you're telling me that we lost power?
when were you in Italy?
Don't need to ask questions. You're doing just fine. Then. Don't ask questions. You'll live longer. But yeah, we lost power for a week over here. Had to heat, food by the fire. Couldn't even get s'mores going, man. You tried doing that with a busted electric stove. Yeah. It was not fun.
Okay, so...
yeah, that hurricane... Well, no, not hurricane. It was 4 tornadoes now. They're confirmed that touched down in Northeast Ohio, where we're at. And, yeah, just about... I think they were saying like 300,000 people total, maybe more, lost power, us included. So we were like, ugh, we got to do something.
Yeah.
I just had to go to work. He didn't have work.
Yeah.
You lucky bastard. How the heck you managed to score that deal, huh?
Yeah, so, I had no electricity. I was out of work since AMC didn't have power either.
Yep.
So I ended up going to stay with my parents for a little while.
Yeah. That'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. All right, but we might as well get on topic here, which is, are the Amazing Spider-Man movies underrated?
Yes. What do you think?
They're about as underrated as my favorite pair of boxers. Which is to say, yes.
Okay, so starting with the first movie.
Okay.
It starts with Peter as a child.
Yes. It does start with him as a child being dropped off, if I remember correctly, dropped off at Aunt May and Uncle Ben's. And I'm sorry, I found out about a comic storyline that just... It's weird. It's weird. I'm not going to ask people to look it up because you don't want to know. Yeah. You do not want to know.
Yeah.
But he's dropped off, and then fast forward to like high school, and he's like somewhat of a cool kid.
Yeah.
But he's still kind of a dork.
It was weird.
Like this, I will say this for Andrew Garfield with his Peter Parker. It was like, dude, are you trying to do a crossbreed of Ultimate and original Peter Parker? What the fuck?
Yeah, because to me, Peter in the Amazing Spider-Man movies comes off as more like the skater punk.
Yeah, which I'm like, that's not how it goes, like at all.
Yeah.
For Peter Parker. Even in the Ultimate version, where it's he's kind of a nerd, but then he got powers and he got more confidence or something like that. I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But to be fair though, as the movie went on, he started getting a little bit more geekish.
Yeah.
Which is, what we want Peter Parker to be. He's supposed to represent like an everyman sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker can't be a punk skater dude. He's got to be an everyman. He's got to be the nerd. He's got to be the outcast.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us that grew up kind of were. So it's supposed to be someone that most everybody can relate to.
Right.
Hey, do we have someone in here?
Do we?
I think so. What's this? Devin?
Oh.
Devin the Who is it? The retro guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Hey, we'll take it. We're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And how much, who is it? Oh, yeah, how much Peter Parker sucks. Oh, it's Devin the Movie Fan 2004.
Yeah.
Didn't he watch one of our earlier streams?
Probably. I don't
Yeah. But yeah, we've been we blame the plumber here, folks. This guy wanted cream from freaking Italy for some reason. I'll keep harping on that because it's still funny.
Yeah. Okay, so.
But anyways, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
How
do you feel about Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy?
Oh. Ooh. Here, let me be more like Pacha in this one. Just right. Just right. Like, when I picture Gwen Stacy, I can't picture anybody else but Emma Stone. I mean, you had Bryce Dallas Howard in Spider-Man 3 as Gwen Stacy.
She was fine.
She looked the part, but she didn't act the part.
Yeah.
She was playing Gwen Stacy. She wasn't Gwen Stacy. Emma Stone was Gwen Stacy. And I'm like, dang, that's actually how I got one of my girlfriends. Because she looked like Gwen Stacy. I was like, hell yeah. I was in college. I looked like freaking Peter Parker, man. I was like, I'm cool with this. I'm cool with this. Yeah, then that turned out to be a bust. But with Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy, she's about as fine can get. Smart. Very much,
Yeah.
the opposite to Peter, I felt.
Yeah.
A little bit more nerdish.
And we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I do like the conversation at the dinner table with
The Stacys and Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, okay, you can kind of see where both sides are coming from.
Yeah, because Dad is like, Spider-Man's a vigilante. And that's easy enough to say, because you got, well, this one didn't have J. Jonah Jameson.
No.
Which is weird. So how is everybody starting to get the conjecture of the... Wait, you can't really talk about... You cannot talk about the dinner table scene, the vigilante thing, without mentioning Peter's first run-in as Spider-Man with the police.
Yeah.
And the brief nod and wink where he went Deadpool style and broke the fourth wall. Okay, you've never seen The Amazing Spider-Man, but you would love to. Definitely the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a really good one. It's a really good movie. Second one, you can watch it, and we'll get to the second one.
Yeah, I would say the second one is not really as unwatchable as people would like you to believe.
It's watchable. It's watchable to a degree, but there are some things and gripes that I can mention because I'm looking forward to this because I had to recently watch this and I'm just so...
Yeah, but
there's some stuff that's really irritating.
We'll get there.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But the suit, the one thing that I will also say was very, very nice was seeing Peter create and come up the web shooters and come up with the formula. They got that accurate because in the comics, Peter doesn't have, flip, flip, flip like Tobey Maguire does. It's literally, I got to build mine. I got to make the fluid. I got to make the shooter. That thing. So I was like, okay, good. That's what I want to see. But let's see.
Yeah. So his first run-in with the police.
Yeah.
This is after Ben dies, right?
Yeah, this is well after Ben dies.
Because it kind of feels like after a while they just kind of forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did. And there's one thing that I will continue to harp on for the Amazing Spider-Man movie. They don't give you the lesson. In the comic books, the lesson is brought up when Peter is,
with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, the big tagline that you cannot say that phrase without thinking about Spider-Man. You can't.
Yeah.
So, the fact that they just skipped over that and just said, "Oh, he understands." Does he though?
Yeah, and that's one thing I think the Raimi films did better.
Yes, because I look at that, looking back on it, it's like, okay, he didn't learn that until he caused all this stuff, where he got ultimately his uncle was killed because of him.
Yeah,
and he got Captain Stacy killed because of.
Yeah.
That one was. I don't think he got him killed. That was more of a line of duty sort of thing.
Yeah. Which, okay, going to the scene before, a couple of scenes before Ben dies. It's like you're getting this. You're getting this pissed off because you got gypped over a freaking carton of eggs.
Yeah. So Devin has only seen the 2002 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, which are great. They're one of my favorites because I grew up when I was a little kid watching these. And Spider-Man: Homecoming is okay. Yeah. So you saw the MCU Spider-Man movies. And No Way Home, easily the best one out of that one because you're bringing all three different iterations, which we're mentioning the Andrew Garfield one.
Yeah.
The one where everyone's like, you could have gotten the third one if he just not have mentioned, if he just said like Mary Jane, he thought it'd be okay for it to be a guy. I'm like, no. Yeah.
I mean, Mary Jane was originally going to be in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but she got cut.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I think they did shoot her scenes, but they cut them. You have not seen Spider-Man 3. Okay. So you've only seen Spider-Man 2 then. Well, Spider-Man 1 and 2 I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch Spider-Man 3, do so, but understand that thing was got some of the problems that we're going to talk about in 2.
Yeah.
So the dinner scene where they're all talking about, is he a vigilante or is he not? Which, valid point for both sides to come up because Peter wants to do the right thing, and Captain Stacy is like, "Listen, how do we know this is a good guy? How do we know? We don't know who he is under the mask. It could be somebody pulling a long con before finally, aha! I'm gonna get into the bank vault and steal the money." Classic mustache twirling villain sort of thing, which is fair. You don't know who's under that mask, so you don't know what their intentions are.
Yeah. I think Captain Stacy is also trying to argue that Spider-Man is sort of like taking away the police's job.
Yeah. Which that is true. The police need to do their jobs, and Spider-Man, essentially doing their shit for them. And he's just helping, but at the same time, it's like, dude, let the police handle some of the stuff. You don't have to do everything. Oh, and you saw the Spider-Verse movies. Very good. Very nice. How do you feel about the Batman Beyond art that was put out? I'll let you answer that one in the chat. We're going to keep going, though.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think what made this one good is that it just focused on one villain.
Yes.
It focused on one villain, and it was Lizard.
Yes. And I liked Lizard.
I thought he looked fairly reptilian, which is what they were going for. I thought he looked really good. Now, did he have as many memorable lines? Not quite. He looked cool. Yeah. He looked cool.
Yeah. Which, okay, I want to bring up the school scene. The fight in the school.
Oh, with Stan Lee.
Yes. Okay, one, I thought it was funny when Peter said, "I'm going to throw you out the window now."
Well, and that's the thing that Toby didn't do so much. The quips. That's the thing that Andrew did well. It was the quips. That's why we like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Not only is he beating you up physically, but still pulling his punches, he's attacking you mentally and verbally.
Yeah. But...
Oh, you never seen Batman Beyond? Dude.
I can't think of...
Check it out.
Any reason why Lizard even needed to be at this school besides having a cool fight scene, because the movie never explains why he's there.
No, it didn't. But it's one of those, it just had to happen. It was sort of like, as nostalgic I can put it, a big lift alligator moment where it just happened. You don't know how it got there or why they got there, but it's there.
Yeah.
Still, with Stan Lee as a librarian listening to music while Spider-Man and Lizard are fighting, and it's like, yeah. Like, no! I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was a cool fight.
Yeah.
And ultimately, with the unmasking of Spider-Man via Captain Stacy to find out who he is, he definitely changes his mind after that. Which, it helps. It helps. Because when you put a face to the person that's under the mask, you have a better idea of who they are as a character. Because Captain Stacy knew Peter Parker, and it's like, this guy's a good guy. So when he found out that he's actually Spider-Man and doing way more, he's like, oh, yeah, he's fine. He's good. I mean, I thought the movie was good. Yeah. It's just the lack of lesson. With great power comes great responsibility. Until like at the end when Captain Stacy's dying.
Yeah. And another scene I want to bring up is the argument between Uncle Ben and Peter, like right before Uncle Ben died.
Yeah.
He says that Aunt May had to walk 12 miles just to get back to her house. Why? What?
Did nobody have a car then? What? I completely forgot that one. I pigeonholed it. Like it just got attached to a pigeon and flew away.
Like you're in freaking New York. What's taking a cab not an option?
Or a train. What? Or a train. Okay. I get it. Manhattan is like roughly a little bit. It's got to be more than 11 miles. I just watched a Neil deGrasse Tyson short where he's talking about the distance in elevation between the lowest point on the Earth's crust, which is the bottom of the Marianas Trench, 6 miles down, to Mount Everest, 5 miles up. There's 11-mile difference. I think Manhattan is longer than that. So, in other words, 12 miles. And it's in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. So there's trains, there's cabs, and you're telling me she chose to walk instead.
Yeah.
The average person walks at roughly 2, 3, 4 miles an hour, possibly if they're speed walking 5. But let's go with the 5. That's 2+ hours to get from one end of the island to the other. Are you telling me that there is no line of bullshit that you can't at least have money for a cab? And this is back in like the 60s or 70s. Cabs were relatively reasonable price. And you decided, no, I can take the train. Why didn't you do that?
Or at the very least, like,
I'm waiting.
She was at some kind of like a book club. Ask somebody for a ride.
Right? Like, there's no reason for that. And there were cars at that time for sure. Okay? Okay.
Oh my God.
But still, the movie is fun. It's good. It's underrated. I don't know why they threw that line in there. That's just... All right. But then moving on to Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because of the success of the first one, the sequel got greenlit. Mm-hmm. And of course, just about everybody in their little kid was like, yeah, Spider-Man 2! And then news slowly leaked stuff out. And our hopes went like, oh my God. Our hopes for the sequel went from rock hard to about flaccid in about 3 seconds.
Everyone was just like, oh my God, this is Spider-Man 3 all over again.
And the reason that we say this is Spider-Man 3 all over again is for one major sticking point that made us go from, the villains. There's too damn many of them. This is a problem, Devin, that Amazing Spider-Man 2 has. Same thing with Spider-Man 3. You had more villains than you needed. In each movie, there was 3 villains. In Spider-Man 3 and in Amazing Spider-Man 2. 3 villains. With Amazing Spider-Man 2, they had Rhino.
They had, well, kind of.
Electro.
Yeah.
And Green Goblin. You don't need that many villains.
No.
Just let the first movie, the first Amazing Spider-Man, did it right by saying, "Hey, we're gonna focus on one villain. We don't need 3, just need 1." But because of studio backing and I'm guessing some corporate interference, they put in 3, which was not necessary. Granted, Rhino as a mugger in a one-off, yeah, that's okay.
And yet, somehow, I don't know how they did it, but somehow No Way Home managed to make the multiple villains thing work.
It did. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason that No Way Home did its villains even better. It's because each of the villains, and there was only 2 from the Amazing Spider-Man that they focused on. Each of the villains were already fleshed out and already focused on. The ones from Homecoming and Far From Home, don't worry about them. They weren't in there.
Yeah.
But each of the villains from the previous Spider-Man movies, the main ones, okay, the big main ones, were it. It's like they were there, and they focused on those guys. And with the past history, it made it so we knew coming in who they were, what they were, and how they thought. It helped because you have multiple movies focusing on each villain, bringing them all together for one big one that just was a big old nostalgia trip. That's all it was.
And I'll say this before we get back to Amazing Spider-Man 0. No Way Home fixed Electro immensely.
Oh, it made Electro go from a hot piece of garbage to, God damn, that is a fine man right there. They fleshed him out so good, it made him look amazing. And for one simple way, remove the excess electricity.
Yeah.
And then it's like, he's Jamie Foxx again. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Although I still feel like Jamie Foxx would have been a much better Aaron Davis.
Who's Aaron Davis?
Prowler.
Prowler?
Yeah.
No. I don't think Jamie Foxx would have been a good Prowler. Oh yeah, Aaron Davis. Why did it take me this long to put the 2 and 2 together? Jeez. No, I don't think it would be him as that, because I'll be honest with you, after the Spider-Verse movies, I can't see anybody but Mahershala Ali. I can't. I literally can't, because I hear the voice and I'm like, that's Prowler. That's Mahershala Ali. And the fact they were trying to get him as Blade, but that shit is starting to fall through. Yeah, that kind of pisses me off a little bit. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
I guess he already left.
Yeah. Even Donald Glover, I felt was miscast.
Yeah, Donald Glover as Aaron Davis just does not work. It doesn't work. Okay, but with Amazing Spider-Man 2, the multiple villains, it was too much. You were trying to do too much with too little amount of time. If you wanted multiple villains, do it as a TV series, like a TV season. You could flesh out different villains. Like, hey, for season 1 of Amazing Spider-Man, we're gonna do Lizard.
Yeah.
Season 2, we're gonna do we'll do Electro.
Yeah,
and just stick with that.
All of this was so that they could set up a potential Sinister Six movie that never happened.
Mm-hmm. They were trying to set up something that wouldn't have worked. Like a Sinister Six down the line, sure, that would be great. But you need to have Doc Ock, you gotta have Electro, you're already working on that one, Rhino, Vulture, so I got 4 there. Mysterio. And Sandman. 6. And you're already trying to knock off 2 of them. Dude. Just focus on one at a time.
Yeah.
Just focus on one at a time. The soundtrack for this one was... it was okay. Not really much to write home about.
Yeah, although I do like Gwen Stacy's speech at the beginning that kind of foreshadows her death.
Yeah.
At the end. Mm-hmm. I did like that.
Yeah. And it was a shame that they had to kill her off, because I was like, man, I really enjoyed her character.
Yeah. Although that line where Peter says something like "You are my happy ending" or something like that is just so freaking cheesy.
It was cheesy, but at the same time, you gotta admit, like Peter Parker is a teenager, he's gonna say cheesy romantic shit, just so that they can be like, "Oh yes," because girls like that shit. They like that shit. They eat it up.
Yeah. Harry Osborn.
That he did not need to be in this movie.
He really did not.
He's like Venom from Spider-Man 3. You didn't need him there. You didn't.
He came off as more of a wannabe Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I felt like he was trying to be a Harry Osborn, which is fair, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I've got cancer or and maybe the radioactive blood will help from Spider-Man. It's like, no, it's gonna make it worse. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, like as much of a mess as the story of Marvel Spider-Man 2 was, the Sick Harry story was done so much better there.
It worked because they had a whole game to flesh it out.
Yeah.
Whereas with Amazing Spider-Man 2, no, you didn't. You're throwing in Harry Osborn, whap, bam, slapping a label on it. You don't need to.
Yeah. And, like, why did Norman have to die?
Because they're like, they wanted to set stuff up. But here's the thing. If you want to set up the Green Goblin, you have to use Norman Osborn. You can't use Harry. Harry doesn't work so well as a Green Goblin.
I mean,
it's been tried.
Yeah, he becomes, I believe he becomes Hobgoblin.
Yeah. He does. He becomes Hobgoblin. But even in the old cartoon with Fox Kids Spider-Man, where Harry does become the Green Goblin, he does, but at the same time, I'm like...
Yeah, like, even, like, in the Raimi films, it worked better because there was an arc.
Uh-huh. There was an overlying arc across at least 2 to 3 movies.
Yeah. Where
there was an A storyline and a B storyline. It worked best. I mean, granted, that's what TV does. They have an A storyline and they got a B storyline.
Yeah.
And eventually, the two, they eventually, come in contact with each other at the end. Like, they're parallel. What is it? Here, let me see if I can do this right. They're paralleling, and then they converge towards the end.
Yeah. Like, one way this could have been, like, Amazing Spider-Man 2 could have been infinitely better is if they just focused on Electro.
Yes. I mean, Rhino as a one-off, where he gets sent into prison or something like that, and maybe he comes back towards the end, he doesn't have the suit, but it's implied that it's like he's going back to prison again, because he's part of a program, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so you have Electro as the villain for this movie. You set up Norman Osborn for a potential Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they should have done. Did they? No. They didn't, because they wanted to slap as many goddamn labels on this thing as possible, which was ridiculous. But the suit in this one, it looked way more like a comic. So I was like, oh my god, that is nice looking.
Yeah. Because, like, I'll be honest, like, I was not a fan of the suit in the first movie.
Yeah, it was a little grunge. It didn't look like the suit, the Amazing Spider-Man suit from the comics, which that's a gripe. It's a small thing, but at the same time, it's like you're going to see a Spider-Man movie. It has to look like the suit, which is one of the things that they got right for Homecoming, or even Civil War. We're gonna make it look like the Spider-Man suit that y'all know and love.
Yeah. Although
problem solved.
Although I will say, for the MCU movies, I honestly prefer the red and black suit over the red and the blue.
Yeah, I liked the red and the black. I thought that was much better.
Yeah.
The red and the blue was, it was okay, but when it was at the end of No Way Home, when the red and blue, classic red and blue showed up, it was like, okay, that feels good. That feels good.
Yeah.
And I wonder what they're gonna do for Tom Holland's Spider-Man at this point. I think they're setting up another trilogy.
Probably.
Which is like, dude, he's gonna be doing these things until he's freaking 90. And Deadpool made that joke to Hugh Jackman, in Deadpool Wolverine. He's gonna do this till he's 90. Like, dude. So
we'll talk about Deadpool in another video.
Yeah. Because I don't have a whole heck of a lot of time. Yeah. I gotta get home. But I think Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's watchable.
Yeah,
but
it's not terrible.
It's not the end of the world, but it's like a dog turd that's set out in the sun. It's there, but it doesn't smell. So you're like, okay, we'll work with this. We'll work with this. That's something on my face. No, that's just light. But Amazing Spider-Man 1, definitely worth a watch. Yeah. It's fun. It's great. But yeah, I think I actually got to get going. I got to get dinner cooked because it is. What are we doing tonight? I gotta check. You're getting old, folks, when you have to have glasses. Shush. You have to have glasses, and you got to write yourself notes of what you're doing each night. Like I'm getting old. I've come to that conclusion that I have gotten old. I'm 33 and I'm old. Chicken tenders. Yeah, I gotta make chicken tenders when I get home.
Oh, one more thing. How do you feel about Sally Field's Aunt May?
Why the hell is Aunt May hot? Why? And that's the MCU Spider-Man, right?
No, that was Marissa Tomei.
Oh, that was Miss Marissa Tomei. That's who I'm thinking.
Yeah.
My bad. Sally Field's Aunt May, it's like, okay, she's not a sweet, doddering old woman, but she's up there in age.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. It's fine. But with Marissa Tomei, why and how did Aunt May get hot?
Yeah. What bothers me about the younger Aunt May is that she ends up coming off more as Peter's mother rather than her aunt.
Right. Which there was a whole comic storyline that they wrote where... You want me to say it?
Yeah.
Where it's found out that Aunt May is actually Peter's biological mother.
What?
Yeah. This is in a comic. This is an actual comic.
Oh my god.
And she's hot. But she says the Mary Jane line from the comics where Mary Jane first pops up. It's like, face the tiger, you hit the jackpot. When Mary Jane says that, Aunt May says the same thing with a bedsheet covering her and a condom in a hand.
That's just as bad as Bruce Wayne revealing to Terry McGinnis that he is his father.
Which is a thing. It is.
And oh my god. I hated that episode.
Yeah, the finale of Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I think it was okay. But, anyways, that's going to be it for us.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, this episode is a little bit shorter.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm running around like a chicken with a second off. I'm working as a plumber, and I'm like, I got to make dinner. Yeah. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe. What should we do for next time? Should we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine? Yeah. Let's talk about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. And
spoiler alert, it's awesome.
Join the Discord.
Yep. Yeah. And we will see you guys in the next showtime. But in the meantime, get the hell out of the theater.
Whenever that will be.
Hopefully not 3 months. But in either case, get the hell out of the theater. Show's over. Scram.
All right.
Vamoose, get along. Go. Bye-bye. See ya.